Hi, I'm Mikey Joseph from Vanguard's Investment Advisory Research Center, and I'm joined today by my colleague Lauren Martinelli, also from Vanguard's Investment Advisory Research Center. Today we're going to talk about retirement. And Lauren, you and I, we've spent a number of years researching retirement, and we've been looking at it from a little bit of a different perspective lately. And some of the numbers that we've seen are pretty shocking, right? Like when we talk about over 10,000 people per day retiring in the United States by some estimates. And then we add on the complexities, the changing tax code, and the complexities of the investment industry and all the different funds and things like that. And it's really led to this confluence where we've seen an explosion in demand for good financial advice.
Right, good financial advice, good retirement planning. One thing I think is particularly interesting about all of those macroeconomic factors, they all impact an investor's ability to reach their financial goals, their retirement goals. And many of those factors, they're outside of an investor's control. An investor has no control over market performance or tax legislation. And so as an advisor, I think one of the most important things that you can do is to help your clients achieve their financial goals, their retirement goals, by acting as that emotional circuit breaker, that behavioral coaching element to really guide your clients to making optimal long-term decisions, particularly during periods of market volatility. And during these periods of market volatility in particular, well, that's when you as an advisor, advisors in general, can add the most value for clients and helping clients maintain that desired lifestyle that they work so hard to achieve in retirement.
Yeah, let's pull on that a little bit. So we've seen some pretty big changes in the industry over the years. We at Vanguard, we've been publishing our Vanguard Advisors Alpha for 25 years. We just recently released our 25-year look back of clients and advisors thriving together, which I think is an important point. And we'll talk about what this means for the advisor there as well. But when we look at it, right, the industry's changed from one that was really focused on driving investment returns to one that was focused on helping clients reach their goals. And some of those numbers and trends that we just talked about. For most clients, retirement is their primary goal. That's, the good news is that there's good advice out there, right? For advisors, what that means is it takes a lot of time. There are a lot of things there that they have to be doing, and it's also really valuable. You had mentioned the value add. Maybe dive into some of those different components that we've seen.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, the value proposition of the advisory space of wealth management is no longer on picking those individual stocks and picking those individual bonds. That's largely become commoditized within the financial services industry. But where we see the most value added for investors is by focusing on that holistic element of wealth planning, really being able to integrate not only the investment portfolio, but also the tax implications, the long-term planning element. And one of the most important elements that we think about is helping your clients focus on their unique goals and unique needs. This is where we see wealth management become exceptionally personalized and really a human element to wealth management. And when you think about focusing on personalized goals, well, what we know, what we study, what we talk about all the time is that as an advisor, if you can focus on your clients' unique needs, their unique goals, well, goes a long way in not only building that relationship, but also building trust with clients. And what we know about building trust with clients, because this is a uniquely human business, when you build trust with clients, that often leads to referrals from your clients. And over 50% of current advisors are found via a referral. I find that statistic quite staggering. And so what that tells me as an advisor, one of the best things that you can do for your clients is focus on their unique goals and the relationship element of a good client-advisor relationship. And when you do that, you're building client trust, and client trust leads to referrals.
Yeah.
So ultimately, those outcomes are both good for your clients and good for your practice. It's a growth strategy.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about practice management, and that's what we're talking about, right? Like it's the number one need for clients, driving great outcomes for them, particularly in retirement and doing all of those complex planning tactics and building the portfolios. And you had mentioned behavior, right? Like the behavioral coaching where you have to come in and actually help your clients stick to the plan, especially for a retiree. I mean, it's easy, relatively easy for someone like you or I who were accumulating, right, relatively early on in our careers. The market goes down, it's certainly scary. But for a retiree who's saying, this is my nest egg, like, this is what I worked so hard for, and to see that go down, just a huge value add there. But I wanted to reiterate a little bit what you had said, because I think it was really well said. Driving great client outcomes, especially in terms of retirement, is also the key to driving great advisory practice outcomes. And so if we talk about, you mentioned referrals, right? That's the number one source of client acquisition. So the economics for you as advisors, it's get new clients. You're all trying to grow. You're all entrepreneurs and business people. It's keep those clients, right? It's the client retention. By the way, our research has also found what's the number one driver of client retention?
Trust.
Trust, again, right? And that comes from those deep, uniquely human, as you called it, relationships and conversations. And retirement's so deeply personal and so unique to each individual. Those conversations are the types of things that are driving that trust. And then the last one, the asset consolidation. So it's get the new clients, keep the clients that you have, and you want to consolidate yourself as their primary advisor. Well, clients with high levels of trust were 6 times more likely to consolidate all of their assets with their primary advisor. And so it leads to this kind of, virtuous cycle. We call it a flywheel, right, where it's like you're doing great by your clients, you're adding value, you're doing the retirement planning, that's building relationships, deep trusting relationships, offering your clients peace of mind. And those are the exact same drivers that are helping you grow your practice, retain those clients. And you and I have the privilege of talking to advisors all over the country, day in and day out. And the advisors who are doing this, it's a really meaningful profession, and it's actually really rewarding even for us to hear the stories of how they're driving success for their clients. And it makes me proud to be able to work with advisors like yourselves, and proud to work in this business.
Yeah, it's a great point, and as are all of us here at Vanguard. So thank you all for watching us today. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, and subscribe for additional resources from Vanguard. For more information on retirement planning in volatile markets, click on the link in the description below.